artists and animators. Kasia Mazur is a build and rigging artist working in Poland, and Tomasz Spell is a comic book author and colorist based out of Poland. We invited Kasia and Tomasz onto our stream to discuss Alfa's character rig, which Kasia built based on a character designed by Tomasz. So, Kasia, can you tell us what a rigging artist does on a typical animated production?
In 2D, which I'm working in 2D. Rigging artist is doing a model, like a puppet. I don't know if it's the right way to describe it. That animator can later animate it instead of drawing frame to frame animation. It's like a tool to move the character just as it is. Yeah, so basically that's the same thing is in 3D, but like here it's flat drawing. It's more
So it's kind of like a 2D puppet that you can make to have a character move on screen that an animator would use. What do you say the most challenging thing about being a 2D rigging artist is?
Most challenging. That's a difficult question because for me it's easy. To be honest, I mean, sometimes something can not work, and you don't know why. I think that this kind of situation is the most challenging because you just have to, like a programmer, basically just try different stuff. Sometimes it's not even like logical, so it will work apparently. I'm not sure.
No, I think that's a good answer, and I do like that there is like a very like heavy like problem solving aspect of rigging a character and wondering like how come this composite isn't giving me the effect that I want. I think is something that actually draws a lot of people to that profession.
Maybe the most challenging is to do the rig that actually will be useful for an animator. If I can do a rig that is not useful. I need to know what actually animator will do with this rig, and I think this is the most challenging. I have to predict or communicate well with the animator, and that's the most challenging.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And Tomasz, I know that so your character Alfa is from a comic called Rule of Threes. Can you tell us a little bit about your comic?
Yeah, it came just today. Just today I got my copies, and the comic is about a weird. It's a weird fantasy set in a world of a city, the titular city, the Rule of Threes. Is the name of the city, and it's an infinite city. It goes into every direction infinitely, and it spans many dimensions. It's like very weird. It's hard even to tell where's up, where's down. The city, in the city, there lives like weird creatures. Like there's no humans, but there are creatures, colorful, weird, often not even anthropomorphic, like this guy have a candle for his face. I don't know. And the comic book itself is about ambition, striving to be the best at what you do, and it's about like how ambition can be toxic, especially in relationships with other people, but also how ambition can build you up to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, I think those are really cool concepts. So can you tell us a little bit about Alfa and some of the character design work that went into this character?
Yeah. Can I screen share now?
Yes.
You show her. Here is the very first designs of Alfa, and here we can see her latest version. In the comic, she doesn't have the clothes, but Kasia decided that she wanted the clothes for the rig. But in the comic book, she only has the cloak. So what went into her design? She's a badass. She's a badass. She's a great magician, because the story is about wizards, basically fighting with magic, and she's like one of the best wizards. She's very skillful, crazy talented, and obsessed about her goals. She's crazy ambitious, and but on the other hand, that makes her very cold toward the others. So like in this scene, this guy is telling her a knock joke, and she just stares at him blankly, because she's cold. She's single-minded. She doesn't care about anyone else or anybody or anything other than her own goals. So I wanted to depict this in her design. So her design is basically four main points. So the first point is that her back is very straight, to show that she's a very stiff person. Like in this scene, she doesn't blink. She just stares at the guy that tells her a joke. The second thing is her ears. That are very pointy, and she kind of looks like a dog, but not really, but kinda. And I wanted to, with these ears, I wanted to show that like a dog hears a sound, he puts, or a cat, he puts his ears up. So you can very often judge what mood she's in just looking at her ears. Most of the comic, the ears are very pointed to show that she's alert and she's vigilant. But like here, she wakes up from a bad nightmare, so her eyes, her ears goes floppy. The third thing that went into her design, like all the characters, because this is the main character, this is another main character, and this is the third main character. And the first two, they have normal teeth, but her mouth line is very unique. She's like she has like shark-like teeth to show that she's a dangerous person. And the fourth is the color. I chose blue for her to show like that she's cool, very professional, and very cold. So that's basically it.
And these are very like iconic designs where you have like one character who's green and round, one character who's red and square, and one character that's like blue and pointy. So you can tell like from silhouettes and from colors that these are different characters.
Exactly, that was the point.
Okay,
and
that's
they're
awesome.
easier
I could
to
ask
draw.
you.
So it wasn't as much work as drawing a full human.
Are there any other character designs that you want to show from this character before we move on?
From this character?
Or from your characters from the comic?
From other characters? The red one is Rubin. He's kind of the main protagonist. And for his design went the least work, because when I thought about the comic, Rubin came to me as a whole design. Like for Honor, the green one, and Alfa, the blue one, I worked really hard to just nail the design, but Rubin just appeared in my head as a whole. So I can't even tell you really what ideas went into his design, because
It's just there.
he was just there. And maybe the red, he's very passionate character. He's the opposite of Alfa, because he's also crazy ambitious, but he's not as talented as her. and he's very frustrated about it. And the red is the color of like his anger and his passion. And Honor is he's not very talented. He's not as good at what he does. He's a telepath. But he's very jolly, he's very happy, that's why he's round. He's he's a fatty, so I to show like his jolly side, outward appearance. But he's also throughout the story we learn that he's very deeply depressed, and there's even a scene in which he self-harms. So it also builds a contrast between his like soft side. He hides his depression under his the jokes and his outwardness towards others. So that's the three main characters.
Yeah, so I could ask you a million questions about your comic and about weird fantasy, but I wanted to ask Kasia, how did you come across this character design in comic, and what was your approach to adapting the character? So I think we'll start with the first question. Kasia, when did you find out about this character?
Yeah, like we know each other with Tomasz for a long time, and I'm following his work, and I know what he's working on recently. And how long did you draw this? 3 years or something like this? I think it was
3.5 years of drawing. Yeah.
So he was showing the designs for a long time, and he was sharing the whole universe also for others in the internet. And I really liked. I mean, I always was a big fan of Tomasz stuff, drawings and designs, and I really liked the universe in this comic, and I really wanted to rig something that is drawn by Tomasz. At the beginning, I asked just to design just the character from this universe, but we ended with Alfa because I liked this character the most, and since the very beginning I just wanted something like her, but not her. And we ended just with her because I liked her so much. I love the colors, the expressions, the clothes, the cape,
the little ear holes in the hood.
Yes, exactly. And I just fell in love with her since the very beginning.
And what was your approach to adapting a character from comics for animation? Because comics and animation, they're two art forms that share a lot of history and a lot of craft, but they're also very different.
I mean, I think that this character is challenging. Probably it would be challenging for the animator, because of her. Like in comic, you can cheat a little bit with lots of stuff. With her, probably the poses would be tricky, but I'm not experienced animator. I was animating for a while, but I'm not as experienced to do it well when I was checking the rig. I'm sorry, I got lost myself.
No, that's fair. So I was just asking if there are things that you'd consider when looking at a character from comics that you're adapting to like an animated character design. Like, are there certain things that work in comics that might not work in animation, or vice versa? If anything comes to mind with that, because I know one thing in comics, like you time works differently, right? Like in a on TV, everything is just sort of like in one rectangle. But in comics, like things move in time from left to right, and that can make things weird.
Yeah, and also the flow in the comic is different than in animation. Like you, I think in the just like in the story, not in artistic movie. You have less. You have more option in comic to play with the form, the visuals. Even if you just want to share the simple story, if you will do this in animation, it will impact the way you look at the story. Like, I don't know.
No, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
I was wondering if you wanted to give our audience a walkthrough of the rig, because I think it's a really cool character rig, and there are a lot of really cool features in it that I think you're interested in discussing.
Okay, I hope it won't break in the middle. How I can share? It's on already.
So the screen share is already open. We're able to see it.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so it's a little bit lagging right now.
So the fun thing about the screen share that we do is that it does take up the same resources that Toon Boom wants to use. So Harmony is playing tug of war with our streaming setup right now, but it'll work. I hope.
Okay, but the size of the screen is fine. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is Alfa. I have the whole turnaround of her, as you can see, the whole hands, hand poses, lip sync, front, quarter front, profile, and back view, quarter back actually. I have the version with the cape. Maybe I would just go with the master controller, which would be easier. Just jump. Yeah.
I want to say I really like how consistent all the volumes are in this turnaround. Given the fact that this character is fairly abstract, that it's really like deceptively challenging to do.
Yeah, actually, I'm really proud of Tomasz, because I don't know, did you ever do something in animation, like design for animation, Tomasz?
Me? No, not really.
Yeah. And like, I'm a rigger like for 4 years, and I was doing by myself few turnarounds, like the design, and every time I was like, it's easy, and then I had so many things to fix, because everything was jumping and nothing was consistent, and now I'm doing like the 4th turnaround by myself, and I still doing the same mistakes. And actually, I didn't have any objections for Tomasz design. I think I changed the one thing. I had to straight the neck, so it will be in the same pose in every view, so it won't jump. But it was the only one thing. So I'm really impressed, to be honest.
Yeah, the biggest challenge I think was the her snout, her face, because as Kasia said, in comic I can cheat, so I always draw her from the side view, so you can see her snout. And if you do the turnaround, you need to do every side of the face, even the front, and she's just isn't designed to be looked at front.
Yeah.
So if you see Kasia is rotating her, she doesn't even have like the perfectly front face.
Yeah,
So
we cheated a little bit.
yeah, but it looks good.
But that cheat is, I mean, is it cheating or is it like stylistic? Because it's done in a lot of like different characters. Yeah, because like if you look at like a Butch Hartman character, right? Like they also do that sort of flip of like.
Yeah, actually, I remembered. I think that was the one of the first Toon Boom animations. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Teen 16, there the characters when they flipped, they had actually the same hair, even if there was a braid or something.
Like, if the part was on one side and you flipped, it would be on the other side.
I actually had this problem when I did my own rig with my own character, also from the comic strips that I do. In comic, I draw like the hair, like my arm, every time on the same view, there is the same amount of hair. Like when you flip, you will have this.
Yeah, Kasia, I think you might be getting a little bit further away from your microphone because we're losing a little bit of the dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah, quiet.
It sounds better when you lean in.
Okay, sorry.
No, but that's a very good point too. Of like thinking about character designs and asymmetry can make things challenging for artists and animators.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes you have to cheat. I mean, it's nothing bad, but you have to decide if you want to do something smooth or just look in specific way. Because like this character, even if we are cheating here, the turnaround is quite smooth, I guess. I think. But sometimes you have characters that are asymmetric and you don't want to do the other view because it will look ugly or something like this, and it will be more difficult in animation probably to do the turnaround or something, but it's not always about the smooth animation, it's about the style, I guess. Yeah, so
I really enjoy characters that
I
have
should show
that
the
like.
rig, and I started talking.
Yeah, and it could be much worse because when before we chose this character for Kasia for the rig, I drew her like 20 or 30 different characters, and I really wanted to push her to do a rig of not anthropomorphic character. So Alfa she's human, like she has two hands and two legs,
Really?
and I really wanted to see how Kasia would do with something very weird, like no hands but just a tail, or like six hands or whatever.
5 legs.
I
Yeah,
didn't
so
know
it would be
that.
much worse than this.
I didn't know that. Okay. That would be challenging. We have to do this again once one day.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so yes.
So right now you're going through the different poses on the rig.
Yes. Yeah, there was this cape. Yeah, I have two versions of cape. Sorry. Sorry. Without hoodie on the head and with.
Oh, I just love those ear holes so much.
Challenging for me. Huh?
Oh, sorry. I love the ear holes, the cutouts for the ears so much. They're delightful.
That was actually, I think, the most challenging in this rig, to decide if the hoodie should move with the head or with the rest of the cape. I decided just to connect this with the head. like this.
Oh,
because animator can correct every bugs or something like this just by changing the shape here.
yeah, that is a cool design decision.
Right, I love this. It's so good. And I'm not sure if I did the bottom cape separately. Yes, so I can move this separately than the hoodie. It looks mechanical right now, but if there will be a good animator, it can look really smooth. What else I can say about this?
So I know that there are a ton of master controller sliders for like.
The hood has a little, like, I don't know.
Yeah, the tail.
Is it like, can you move it separately?
Yeah.
Oh, that is cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's breaking, but it's easy to fix it.
So you could have like flow in the wind or something.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That is a cool feature. I also noticed too that like the rig has a ton of controller sliders for body motion, body rotation, mouth positions, hands, and of course the toggle for the capes and different handles. Do you want to show off some of those?
Yeah, sure. But you mean master controllers or handles?
So I noticed that you have handles and controllers there too, right?
Yeah, like I'm sorry, I have to jump to the empty frame. Not that's empty. This one. I'm sorry, I will just copy it from the first frame to the last frame. Okay, and it's lagging, I'm sorry. So I have handles. Those pink dots are handles, basically, that I can just click and it's automatically moving the part of the body that I want, just without right-clicking. And I have master controllers, those little purple things. For example, hands. I can just easily change the hand drawings by using this controller. I can easily turn the body. Sorry, it's visible for everybody. Like this, just by using this controller. And I have smooth turnaround. And animator can choose the pose that actually needs right now. I have these buttons. I love those buttons because they are hiding stuff. It's so cool. I think it's the new thing. I think it was in Toon 20 first time. I can move the upper body. Oops, sorry, lagging. Upper body separately by this handle. And of course, lip sync. For the front, I have the full lip sync. If I would change the pose, yeah. Okay. Yes. Lip sync portrait front.
That's so cool.
Right? It's so fun just to use it. Not even for animation, just to play around with this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. None of this right now is animation. This is just posing. So if this was in like a production, there are a lot of things that you can do with these starting positions to get really cool animation out of.
Yeah, a really smooth one. If the animator, if the scene needs some really smooth turnaround, for example, and it happens in lots of scenes or something like this, it can be really helpful. I mean, I didn't work on the show that has this a lot of this. It depends of the what production needs. But it can be really you didn't see this, but it can be really helpful. Yeah.
So I want to ask, Tomasz, was there anything that surprised you about this rig?
I was delighted to see it and surprised how how this character I was drawing for more than 3 years. And when Kasia showed me even the more basic version, the first version of the rig, how alive the character became, how even without animation, like she just showed me the moving parts, the rotation, it kind of blew my mind. It looked super cool.
All right, and I want to ask, Kasia, what elements of the rig are you most proud of? Like, which elements do you think were like your biggest accomplishments for this character?
Difficult question. It's tricky question, actually.
What do you want to brag about?
I don't know. I'm never proud of my stuff too much.
You should be because it's really cool.
But it's cool because Tomasz did a great job. That's the thing. The coolest thing is that it was drawn really well. So it was not that challenging as it could be. When I'm doing my own stuff, it's more challenging. Here I had everything like just there is a sentence in Polish that I don't know how to translate. Like I just got everything ready. I just needed to rig it, to connect
Yeah,
it.
but you gave me a very good directions. You said, "Okay, Tomasz, I need you to draw this in this position, this position, in this position," and I just followed your instructions. And
Tomasz, had you ever designed a character for TV before?
no, but I was very surprised because you always. Yeah, I love animation. I watch a lot of cartoons, and I always knew it's a lot of work. But when I saw all the directions Kasia sent to me, and I started to draw it, I really saw how much work just went into this one rig. Like as you everybody see, like every turnaround, every shape, every mouth, every face shape, every hand shape was drawn. I had to draw on everything, like every minute detail. So it was a lot more work than I even imagined.
Yeah, and Kasia, how many hands did you have to draw for this rig?
Hands.
Yeah, how many different hand substitutions do you have?
I can count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 14, I think 20.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people don't realize about cutout animation is that you have to draw a lot of hands.
Yeah, it's only basic ones. Like animator will probably
Draw
draw
more.
much more, like maybe even 100. So it's just it's just neutral poses. Yeah, it's that's why the old cartoons actually have the cartoon characters have the gloves, white gloves, because like hands are really important in 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 animation, in movies also, to express the feelings, the mood, I don't know, like every day, every day, like you don't think about this kind of stuff, but then you're an animator and you realize, oh, hands are really important to communicate, to express something.
I have a philosophical question for you both. So Alpha is a character who has 3 fingers and a thumb, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which finger is missing?
I think the small one.
You're thinking pinky
I
finger.
think
Yeah, it's
I
not
think it's
important.
more like this for me personally. Like the small one is a little longer than here, but it's something like this, I think.
You think it's one of the ones in the middle that's sort of merged or missing?
I think so.
Yeah, because I've asked this question a few times and I get different answers, which is always interesting. So I think that's sort of an interesting thing to think about in terms of like cartoon anatomy and how that works. Another thing I wanted to mention too, I love the like asymmetric button that's on Alpha's character design on the tunic or shirt.
The vest.
Yeah, on the vest. Because I mean, it could have been easy to sort of cheat and decide to just make it like something where you wouldn't need a button over a fold, and I think that is a detail that makes this a little bit more complicated and a little bit more interesting in some ways. And the little, I also like the coattails too; those are fun.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love this character. I hope somebody will animate it. I don't want to do this, but if nobody will animate this, I will try.
Yeah, Tomasz, how long did it take you to build the turnaround and all of the different materials that Kasia had asked you for?
I didn't build it. I draw all the poses, and Kasia
Yes.
made her magic and glued it together. But
But how long did that design process take?
like 2 or 3 days,
Okay, wow.
maybe 3. I don't remember really.
And Kasia, once you had those designs, those turnarounds and expressions, how long did it take you to put together this rig?
That's also a tricky question because I had full-time job at this moment, so I was doing that after work, which I was also on this challenging project, so I was tired. So it was like I think 2 weeks, but after work, with fixes, because I also gave this to my friend that was a rig checker in my project, like in my studio, and he gave me so many notes about this. So some parts I had to do redo, like the head, the lip sync. So yeah, like with all of this, I think 2 weeks, but it would be
And how
shorter
would
if that will be my just regular job.
absolutely. And How would you say this compares in terms of complexity to a rig that you have made for productions, like in a typical production that you've worked on?
Yeah, I mean it's much longer than I do in production. In production, the deadline is always high, so you have to do everything like quick, but in quality. So I let myself to do it longer than in usual I do rigs. But this rig also is actually quite complex. The design is complex. Few days ago I was rigging my own character and it was simple, and I did the whole turnaround with all the hands, whole lip sync in one day. So it's really, it depends of the design actually.
But did your second character had also different versions? Like, because Alpha is like in a cloak.
No,
and
no,
without,
no,
without a
no,
hood.
no. It was
Okay.
only
One version.
one with not much elements, just the t-shirt. Actually, there is no even shoes, just legs, like really simple. But yeah.
Do you both have any advice for people who are interested in making their own characters or for adapting characters from comics to TV? So I guess I'll start with Tomasz. Um, so when you're making like your comics, your characters, what is your design process like, and what advice would you have for artists who are interested in making characters of their own?
I have advice. One is really think about who your character is, and to try to communicate it with how it looks. So when somebody sees your character out of context, he or she can kinda guess what the character's character is. And the second is the shape of the character, to make it really stand out, so it doesn't get lost with the background. And there's a very simple, well-known trick to do it. When you create a character, just make a silhouette of it, black silhouette, and see how it works with other characters with the background. Is if you see the character only in shadow, only a black silhouette, and somebody else that didn't even read the comic, he can see that this character. Then I think that's a good design.
I feel like the classic silhouette character would be like Batman, right? You sort of see that like two ears pointing up, well, I guess similarly to Alpha, and you know immediately, like I know who that is.
Yeah, or Mickey Mouse with the ears. Yeah, there's
Unmistakable.
a lot of iconic characters, and they all have like a very specific shape.
And Kasha, do you have any advice for artists who are interested in trying their hand at rigging and learning how to rig characters?
Mm, but also designers, or only advice for riggers?
I said advice for rigging artists. So people who want to be rigging artists.
Listen to the animator. Listen what the animator needs. That's the most important thing, I guess, because you can rig something that looks awesome, looks just impressing, yeah. But it's not useful, because, for example, has too many not useful the deforms, or pivots in bad positions. I saw so many bad rigs that looked great, but it was not useful at all for the animator. and yeah, and I think that's the most important.
Yeah, no, that's a very good note.
Departments.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying makes a lot of sense because it is tempting to put like every bell and whistle you want to into a rig. That can sometimes make it more difficult for someone when they actually need to work with it, especially if you're not able to give them a walkthrough of how the rig works. So before we run out of time, I just wanted to ask you both, where can viewers find more of your work online? Kasia, where can people find more of your rigs?
I put my rigs mostly on LinkedIn, actually. And I think I put this also on Instagram. Yeah, I mean, I also do comic strips, so my Instagram is full of comic strips. So if somebody is looking only for rigs, I will be disappointed. But yeah, I put up both of the pages, like LinkedIn and Instagram.
Where can we find you on LinkedIn and Instagram too, actually?
Again?
Sorry, where can our audience find you on Instagram?
Oh, Jesus, that's I have full name there, and it's Katarzyna. So it's difficult to write it down if somebody doesn't know Polish.
I understand. We'll put a link to it in the show notes. One thing I'll say is that I really I really enjoy your comics and the sort of limited color palette that you use with them. It's really cool, really effective, and the rigs are also really fun to look at too. Tomasz, where can viewers find more about your work and your comic?
I publish mainly on Instagram and Facebook. I have a fan page on Facebook. You just look for Tomasz with S Z in the end, Tomasz Spell. And on Instagram, I'm Tom_Spell. And you can check out more sample pages from the comic. It's like right around the corner on 5th of March. It's gonna be published here in Poland, and after that, I'm hoping to publish it overseas. I will try to shop it around with publishers. So cross your fingers.
Fingers crossed. And what is the name of your comic again for those who are watching at home?
It's Rule of Freeze. The rule of freeze. Zasada trójek in Polish.
All right. So thank you to everyone who joined us for today's interview. If you're interested in trying out Toon Boom Harmony Premium, you can download a 21-day trial from our website at toonboom.com and find free video tutorials at learn.toonboom.com. And if you're interested in looking for more interviews, be sure to visit blog.toonboom.com for articles about 2D rigging, traditional digital animation, and 2D games. And we recently published an article on Cuphead, which is a really amazing series by the artists at Lighthouse Studios. And until next time.
Bye-bye.